Today, I want to speak to the part of you that sometimes feels fragile, the part of you that doubts your worth, the part of you that wonders if you are strong enough to face life's trials. There is a power within you that is waiting to be recognized, a strength that is not loud or showy, but steady and unwavering, a resilience that grows when you learn to honor yourself and treat yourself with love. Emotional strength is not about never feeling pain or never facing setbacks. It is about standing firm when life pushes against you, rising when you have fallen, and trusting that your heart, your mind, and your spirit are capable of carrying you through every challenge. Self-love is not vanity or selfishness. It is the recognition that you are valuable, that your life has meaning, and that your well-being matters. When you cultivate it, you create a foundation for everything else: courage, clarity, perseverance, and peace. It is in the quiet moments of reflection, in the choices you make to nurture your soul, and in the decisions to protect your heart, that emotional strength is forged. Each act of self-compassion, each acknowledgement of your worth, each step toward understanding and accepting yourself builds a fortress within that no storm can dismantle. Life will test you, but when you learn to meet it with strength and self-love, you move through the world with confidence, resilience, and grace. You are able to face challenges not with fear but with conviction, to treat yourself with kindness even in times of struggle, and to grow into the fullest expression of your potential. There is a light within you that shines brightest when it is nourished with care, understanding, and love. That light is your strength, and it is your guide through every trial, every uncertainty, and every opportunity that awaits. Life has a way of challenging us in ways that are both visible and invisible. Sometimes the battles we face are not with people, not with circumstances, but within ourselves. Emotions rise up like storms inside, unannounced, and we are expected to manage, control, or even hide them. Society tells us to be strong, to suppress vulnerability, to maintain a composed exterior at all times. But strength is not found in denial. True strength begins the moment you embrace your emotions fully, without judgment, without shame, without fear of what they might reveal about you. Every feeling, whether it is fear, sadness, anger, or joy, carries a message. It carries a signal about what you need, what matters to you, and what is alive within your heart. To deny that signal is to deny a part of your own humanity. And to embrace it is to step into power, clarity, and self-understanding. Embracing your emotions means acknowledging them honestly. It means pausing instead of reacting automatically. It means saying to yourself that it is okay to feel the way you feel. There is no weakness in vulnerability, no failure in tears, and no shame in admitting that you are human. When you give yourself permission to experience your emotions fully, you gain insight into yourself that cannot be achieved any other way. Anger reveals boundaries that have been crossed. Sadness reveals what you care about deeply. Fear reveals the edges of your courage. And joy reveals what nourishes your spirit. Each emotion is a teacher, each feeling a guide, and each moment of recognition a step toward a stronger, wiser self. Many people spend their lives running from discomfort, trying to suppress emotions that feel inconvenient or socially unacceptable. But suppression does not eliminate the feeling. It buries it, allowing it to fester beneath the surface until it influences actions, decisions, and relationships in ways we cannot always predict. When you embrace your emotions, you reclaim control. You do not allow feelings to dictate your life passively. You allow them to inform your choices with honesty and integrity. You become aware of patterns, triggers, and sources of pain or joy, and that awareness empowers you to actively. This practice of embracing emotions without judgment also cultivates compassion, both for yourself and for others. When you stop criticizing yourself for feeling, you develop the ability to extend the same grace to those around you. You learn that human beings are complex, imperfect, and beautifully flawed, and that every person is navigating their own inner storms. Emotional awareness creates empathy, it creates patience, it allows relationships to deepen and interactions to become more authentic. You realize that everyone struggles, everyone fears, everyone hurts and everyone loves, and that the way you respond to those realities defines the strength of your character. To embrace emotions fully, you must also confront the discomfort of self-reflection. It is not always easy to sit with fear, disappointment, or grief. It is not always comfortable to recognize moments of inadequacy, moments when you did not act as you wished, or moments when life delivered blows you were not prepared for. But it is precisely in these moments that your emotional strength is forged. You discover resilience when you face pain rather than flee it. You discover clarity when you observe your emotions with honesty rather than suppress them. You discover courage when you act in alignment with your feelings, even when it feels risky or vulnerable. This process is a journey, not a destination. Each day presents new challenges, new triggers, and new emotions to navigate. The key is consistency and awareness, the willingness to pause, reflect, and engage with yourself sincerely. Journaling, meditation, deep conversation, and quiet reflection are all tools that can help you recognize and honor your emotional state. The more you practice embracing your emotions without judgment, the more instinctive it becomes. You learn to flow with the currents of life rather than fight against them. To understand that emotions are not obstacles but guides, and that responding from a place of awareness is far more powerful than reacting from suppression or fear. There is also power in naming your emotions, in putting words to what you feel. When you identify what you are experiencing, you remove ambiguity, confusion, and the sense of being overwhelmed. Naming your emotions gives them form, gives you control, and allows you to navigate them with intention. It transforms chaos into understanding, reaction into action, and turmoil into insight. You gain a clarity that empowers decision-making, fosters self-respect, and strengthens the relationships around you. Embracing your emotions is not indulgence. It is not selfish. It is not weakness. It is a radical act of self-respect and self-love. It tells the world, and more importantly yourself, that you are capable of standing in your truth, of experiencing life fully, and of handling whatever comes with integrity and courage. It builds a foundation for every other aspect of growth: confidence, resilience, empathy, and purpose. Every choice you make, every action you take, becomes stronger and more authentic when it is informed by emotional honesty. As you learn to embrace emotions without judgment, you cultivate the ability to move through life with authenticity. You stop hiding behind facades, stop pretending to be you, unaffected, and stop sacrificing your well-being for the illusion of composure. You step into life fully, aware, present, and empowered. You begin to recognize that emotional strength does not come from denying feelings, but from facing them, understanding them, and using them as fuel to grow. It is a skill, a practice, and a discipline that strengthens with time, reflection, and intention. Every storm you feel within, every wave of emotion, is a teacher, a guide, and a reminder that you are alive, that you are capable, and that you are human. When you embrace your emotions without judgment, you reclaim your power, you honor your journey, and you step into a life of authenticity, resilience, and profound self-love. You become unshakable, not because life ceases to challenge you, but because you have learned to meet every challenge with courage, awareness, and an open heart. Life has a way of testing us, pushing us to the edge, and placing obstacles in our path that seem impossible to overcome. These moments, the ones that feel heavy, painful, and relentless, are not sent to break you. They are sent to shape you, to teach you, to prepare you for the person you are destined to become. Challenges are not punishments. They are opportunities, disguised in difficulty, designed to strengthen your mind, your spirit, and your resolve. Every obstacle, every setback, every failure carries within it a lesson that, if embraced, empowers you to rise higher, act bolder, and live with greater purpose. Life is not about avoiding difficulty. It is about learning to navigate it, to extract wisdom from it, and to use it as a foundation for growth. When a challenge appears, it is easy to become overwhelmed, to feel defeated, and to question your ability to continue. But within each moment of struggle lies a choice: to succumb to fear or to confront it with courage. Each challenge is a mirror, reflecting your strengths and exposing areas that require growth. Rather than resisting, resisting only prolongs pain and delays progress. The act of facing the challenge head-on transforms fear into fuel. You begin to see that failure is not the opposite of success, but an essential part of it. Every misstep, every disappointment, every obstacle is a teacher, delivering lessons that cannot be learned in comfort or ease. When you embrace this perspective, life itself becomes a classroom, and every experience, no matter how painful, contributes to your development. Challenges test character. They reveal who you are when no one is watching, when external validation is absent, and when circumstances push you to your limits. Strength is not forged in ease, it is forged in adversity. When you encounter a setback, you discover how resilient you are, how creative your problem-solving can be, and how resourceful your spirit is in the face of difficulty. The lesson in every challenge is not always immediate or obvious, but patience and reflection uncover insights that guide your future actions. The more you learn to look for lessons in adversity, the more empowered you become, because you realize that life's obstacles are not designed to stop you, but to strengthen you. Turning challenges into lessons requires perspective. It requires stepping back, observing the situation, and asking yourself what you can learn rather than what you have lost. It requires separating the emotion of the moment from the insight it holds. Pain, disappointment, and frustration are inevitable, but they need not define your story. When you extract lessons from adversity, you transform temporary struggle into lasting wisdom. Each lesson equips you with tools, strategies, and understanding that prepare you for future trials. You become proactive instead of reactive, deliberate instead of passive, and confident instead of doubtful. The lessons you take from challenge are the weapons and shields that carry you forward with greater strength and clarity. The process of learning from challenges also cultivates humility and resilience. Life does not always unfold according to plan, and it does not always respect your timing or expectations. Accepting that some things are beyond your control, while focusing on what you can influence, is a practice of empowerment. When you internalize this balance, you become less reactive to external circumstances and more grounded in your own agency. Challenges teach patience, fortitude, and perseverance. They reveal hidden strengths and inspire you to push beyond limitations you previously thought were fixed. Every difficult experience becomes a milestone, proof of your ability to endure, adapt, and grow. Challenges are also catalysts for creativity and innovation. When faced with obstacles, solutions cannot always be found in familiar ways. You are forced to think differently, to explore new strategies, and to expand your capacity for problem solving. What initially appears as an insurmountable barrier becomes a gateway to growth, opening your mind to perspectives and skills that would have remained dormant in easier circumstances. The lessons you gain from navigating adversity equip you not only to survive but to thrive. You discover abilities, talents, and resilience within yourself that you would never have uncovered without the pressure of the challenge. Every lesson learned from difficulty enhances self-trust. You begin to recognize that you have the strength to face uncertainty, to navigate setbacks, and to adapt in ways that serve your purpose. Confidence grows not from avoiding hardship, but from surviving it, learning from it, and using it as a stepping stone. Each challenge becomes proof of your capability, a reminder that you are stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you may have believed. This trust in yourself fuels further action, creating momentum that allows you to pursue goals that once seemed unreachable. Turning challenges into lessons is also a path to gratitude. It teaches you to appreciate progress, resilience, and the growth that comes from adversity. You begin to notice the subtleties of life that might have gone unnoticed without struggle. The strength of your character, the depth of your perseverance, and the richness of experience that shapes your identity. Gratitude for lessons learned fosters emotional strength, nurtures self-love, and encourages a mindset that sees opportunity in every difficulty rather than despair. Life becomes less about obstacles and more about the growth each moment offers, and you approach the world with clarity, confidence, and a sense of purpose. It is in the integration of lessons learned that empowerment truly manifests. The knowledge, insight, and resilience gained from challenges inform your decisions, shape your actions, and strengthen your resolve. You no longer fear setbacks because you understand that every difficulty carries within it the tools for mastery. You approach life with intention, knowing that each trial is temporary, but the lessons it imparts are permanent. This perspective transforms adversity from an enemy into an ally, from a burden into a teacher, and from frustration into fuel. Every challenge you encounter is a chapter in your story, a building block for the person you are becoming, and a lesson that equips you to live fully, courageously, and with purpose. By choosing to embrace difficulty, extract wisdom, and apply it, you turn every obstacle into a foundation for strength. You learn to navigate life with resilience, self-awareness, and unwavering determination. The trials you face do not define you. The lessons you take from them empower you, elevate you, and prepare you to live a life marked not by fear, but by courage, not by defeat, but by mastery, and not by limitation, but by limitless potential. Life often moves so fast that we forget one of the most important relationships we will ever have, the one with ourselves. We give so much energy, time, and attention to others that we neglect our own needs, our own well-being, and our own growth. Yet the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot show up fully for anyone if you are not showing up fully for yourself. Prioritizing yourself is not selfishness. It is an act of wisdom, courage, and respect. It is the recognition that your life, your energy, your peace, and your purpose matter, and that taking care of yourself is the foundation for living with power, intention, and resilience. To prioritize yourself begins with awareness. You must pay attention to how you feel, what you need, and what nourishes your mind, body, and spirit. It requires honesty, the willingness to assess where you are investing your time and energy, and the courage to make changes when those investments are misaligned with your well-being. Often, society teaches us that putting ourselves first is indulgent, that sacrifice for others is the highest virtue. But true strength comes from balance, the ability to support others without losing yourself in the process, the ability to give while maintaining your foundation, and the ability to live authentically while honoring your own needs. Honoring your needs requires boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are statements of self-respect. They communicate what is acceptable and what is not, what supports your growth and what diminishes it. They allow you to create space for reflection, healing, and focus. Setting boundaries may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you have spent much of our life pleasing others, avoiding conflict, or seeking approval. But boundaries are not about exclusion. They are about protection. They are about preserving your energy, maintaining your clarity, and ensuring that the relationships, work, and environments you engage with align with your values and support your goals. Prioritizing yourself also means paying attention to your physical, mental, and emotional health. Your body is the vessel through which you experience life, and neglecting it limits your potential. Eating well, resting, exercising, and engaging in practices that strengthen your mind and spirit are not luxuries. They are essentials. They are acts of respect for the life you have been given and the potential you carry. When you invest in yourself, you increase your capacity to meet challenges, to seize opportunities, and to support others in meaningful ways without sacrificing your well-being. This practice also requires intentionality in how you spend your time. Your attention is finite, and where you choose to focus it determines the quality of your life. Prioritizing yourself may mean saying no to commitments that drain you, stepping away from relationships that diminish your spirit, or creating space for activities that ignite your passion and purpose. Every choice to honor your needs is a declaration that your life matters, that your time is valuable, and that you are committed to living fully. It is through these choices that you cultivate clarity, focus, and energy, allowing you to move through life with purpose and resilience. Emotional and mental well-being is central to prioritizing yourself. It requires acknowledging your feelings, addressing your stress, and seeking support when needed. It means listening to your intuition, trusting your instincts, and making decisions that align with your values. When you honor your emotional needs, you elope resilience, self-confidence, and a sense of inner peace. You learn that your worth is not measured by how much you give to others, how well you please those around you, or how much you achieve externally. Your worth is inherent, and prioritizing yourself is a way to nurture and protect that truth. Prioritizing yourself is also about cultivating your passions and interests. Life is richer when you invest in what excites you, challenges you, and brings you joy. Engaging in creative pursuits, learning new skills, and exploring your curiosity strengthens your identity and adds depth to your experience. It is through these actions that you honor who you are at your core, that you recognize your uniqueness, and that you build confidence in your ability to live authentically. When you pursue your passions with dedication, you demonstrate self-respect and reinforce the belief that your life is worth investing in. Relationships are strengthened when you prioritize yourself. By honoring your needs, you model self-respect and set a standard for how others should treat you. You attract people who value your boundaries, appreciate your authenticity, and respect your energy. You reduce the presence of toxic dynamics and create space for connections that nurture, challenge, and inspire you. When you are grounded in self-prioritization, you are free to give from a place of abundance rather than depletion, to love fully without sacrificing your well-being, and to lead by example in how to live a balanced, empowered life. Spiritual growth is also nurtured through prioritization. Taking time for reflection, meditation, or practices that align with your values allows you to connect with your purpose, understand your direction, and cultivate inner strength. When you invest in your spiritual life, you reinforce clarity, patience, and resilience, giving yourself the tools to navigate life's challenges with integrity and confidence. Prioritizing yourself spiritually creates a foundation for enduring peace, even when external circumstances are turbulent. Ultimately, prioritizing yourself and honoring your needs is an act of empowerment. It is a declaration that your life, your energy, and your potential matter. It is a commitment to living fully, acting intentionally, and engaging with the world from a place of strength rather than scarcity. Every choice to care for yourself, to set boundaries, to pursue your passions, and to nurture your body, mind, and spirit strengthens the foundation upon which your life is built. When you prioritize yourself, you send a message to yourself and to the world that you are worthy of care, respect, and attention. You create the conditions for growth, success, and fulfillment. You equip yourself to face challenges with clarity and courage, to seize opportunities with confidence, and to engage with others from a place of abundance rather than depletion. You transform your life by placing yourself at the center of your purpose, not as an act of selfishness, but as an act of wisdom, strength, and love. Every day presents choices about how you treat yourself, how you manage your energy, and how you honor your needs. When you commit to prioritizing yourself, you cultivate resilience, clarity, and power. You live intentionally, act confidently, and move through life with a sense of purpose that cannot be shaken. Your well-being becomes the foundation for every success, every relationship, and every dream you pursue. By honoring yourself, you lay the groundwork for a life of strength, balance, and fulfillment that reflects the full potential within you every day. The most important conversation you have is the one inside your own mind. It is a conversation that shapes your choices, your confidence, and the trajectory of your life. Too often, that conversation is harsh, critical, and unforgiving. You tell yourself that you are not enough, that your efforts are inadequate, that your dreams are unrealistic. That voice becomes a barrier, a weight, a self-imposed limitation. But it does not have to be that way. You have the power to change the tone, to transform the dialogue within you into one of encouragement, affirmation, and love. Speaking kindly to yourself is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It is the foundation upon which inner confidence is built, the soil in which resilience grows, and the compass that guides your life with purpose and clarity. The first step in building this inner dialogue is awareness. Pay attention to the way you speak to yourself. Notice the words, the tone, the assumptions you carry. Most people are unaware of how relentless their inner critic can be. Thoughts come uninvited. Comparisons creep in and judgments accumulate without notice. By observing these patterns, you gain control. You recognize that these are not absolute truths but perceptions, often distorted by fear, doubt, or past experiences. Awareness allows you to interrupt the negativity and replace it with language that uplifts rather than diminishes. Speaking kindly to yourself requires deliberate practice. It is not about ignoring mistakes or pretending that shortcomings do not exist. It is about acknowledging them without condemnation and choosing to focus on growth and possibility. Instead of saying I failed, you say I learned. Instead of I cannot, you say I will try. Instead of I am not enough, you remind yourself that your value is inherent, not conditional. This practice rewires your mind. It shifts your perception from scarcity to abundance, from limitation to potential, and from fear to courage. The words you speak internally shape your identity, influence your behavior, and determine the outcomes you create. Inner confidence grows when your self-talk aligns with truth and compassion. Confidence is not arrogance or pride. It is quiet strength, an understanding of your worth, and a belief in your capacity to navigate life. When you affirm your abilities and acknowledge your achievements, even the small ones, you reinforce a sense of capability and resilience. Each act of self-encouragement becomes a brick in the foundation of your self-assurance. You begin to trust yourself more deeply, to act more decisively, and to face challenges without hesitation. Your words become a source of power rather than a source of limitation. Mistakes and setbacks are inevitable, but the way you speak to yourself in those moments determines how you recover. Harsh criticism prolongs pain, fosters doubt, and diminishes motivation. Kindness, on the other hand, fosters clarity, insight, and resilience. When you treat yourself with compassion, you allow space for learning, adaptation, and growth. You begin to see failure not as an endpoint, but as a necessary step in the journey. You remind yourself that imperfection is human, that perseverance is admirable, and that every experience carries the seeds of wisdom and strength. The practice of speaking kindly to yourself also influences how you interact with the world. When you internalize self-compassion, you extend it outward. You become patient with others, empathetic in interactions, and generous in encouragement. You stop seeking validation from external sources because your internal affirmation is sufficient. You approach life with confidence, knowing that you are equipped to handle challenges, navigate relationships, and pursue goals. Your presence becomes steady, grounded, and inspiring because it is rooted in self-respect and inner strength rather than fear and insecurity. Building inner confidence through self-talk is a lifelong process. It requires persistence, patience, and intentionality. You will encounter moments of doubt, voices that seek to undermine your belief, and circumstances that challenge your resolve. In those moments, returning to affirming language, gentle reminders of your worth, and recognition of your progress becomes essential. Each day, each choice to speak kindly to yourself reinforces your identity, strengthens your resilience, and deepens your ability to trust your instincts and decisions. Over time, these words transform into habits, habits into character, and character into a life lived with courage and authenticity. Affirmation is a powerful tool in this process. Speaking statements of truth about yourself, reminding yourself of your strengths, accomplishments, and inherent worth reinforces your confidence. Simple phrases like I am capable, I am enough, I am resilient, or I am worthy, repeated consistently, anchor your mind in a mindset of empowerment. These words counteract the self-doubt and fear that inevitably arise. They remind you that no circumstance, no opinion, and no failure can diminish your value unless you allow it. Your voice within becomes your ally, guiding you through uncertainty with clarity, strength, and determination. Self-compassion and kind self-talk also cultivate courage. Life will inevitably test you. Challenges, disappointments, and moments of fear will come. The way you respond to these moments depends largely on the dialogue within. When you speak to yourself with encouragement and trust, you approach challenges with resilience rather than hesitation. You make decisions rooted in confidence rather than doubt. You take risks aligned with purpose rather than retreating out of fear. Each instance of self-kindness strengthens your ability to face life boldly and with determination, transforming obstacles into opportunity and doubt into action. Ultimately, speaking kindly to yourself is an act of empowerment. It is a conscious decision to affirm your worth, honor your journey, and cultivate the confidence that allows you to live fully. Inner confidence is not granted by external validation. It is built, nurtured, and sustained through the way you treat yourself. It is reinforced in the moments of quiet reflection, in the choices you make to rise above negativity, and in the words you use to encourage yourself to move forward. The more intentional you are in this practice, the stronger, more resilient, and more unstoppable you become. When you consistently speak to yourself with kindness, you transform your life. You develop clarity, focus, and the courage to pursue goals that once seemed out of reach. You navigate setbacks with wisdom, learn from mistakes with grace, and approach every opportunity with confidence. Your inner dialogue becomes the engine that drives your success, the foundation that supports your resilience, and the voice that reminds you daily of your worth, your capability, and your potential. You step into the world fully, knowing that your strength is not borrowed, your confidence is not conditional, and your value is inherent. Every word you speak to yourself has power. Choose them carefully. Choose them with love, with affirmation, and with belief in your potential. In doing so, you cultivate inner confidence, fortify emotional resilience, and live a life that reflects the truth that you are capable, worthy, and unstoppable. Life is a journey filled with trials, victories, setbacks, and breakthroughs. And yet we often move through it so quickly that we forget to pause and acknowledge the distance we have traveled. We focus on what is next, on the goals still ahead, and on the challenges that loom without recognizing the progress we have already made. Celebrating your growth and resilience every day is not about arrogance or vanity. It is about honoring your journey, recognizing your strength, and reinforcing the habits, choices, and mindset that allow you to keep moving forward. Even when the path is difficult, each day you survive, each challenge you overcome, and each lesson you internalize is proof of your capacity to endure, adapt, and rise stronger than before. Resilience is not born in comfort. It is forged in the fires of difficulty. Every moment you face hardship, navigate disappointment, or confront uncertainty adds to the reservoir of strength within you. Recognizing this growth is vital because it creates a feedback loop of confidence and motivation. When you pause to celebrate progress, you internalize the truth that effort matters, that persistence yields results, and that your ability to overcome is real and undeniable. This daily acknowledgement reminds you that setbacks are temporary, that challenges are teachers, and that your resilience is a muscle that strengthens with use. Celebrating your growth shifts your focus from what is lacking to what has been achieved. And in that shift, you cultivate gratitude, perspective, and determination. To celebrate your growth, you must first become aware of it. Reflection is essential. Take time to look back at where you started, the obstacles you have faced, and the progress you have made. Notice the skills you have developed, the fears you have confronted, and the courage you have summoned. Small victories are often overlooked, yet they are the building blocks of lasting success. Completing a task that once felt impossible, setting boundaries that protect your well-being, learning to speak your truth, or simply maintaining consistency in the face of challenge, each of these moments is significant and deserves acknowledgement. By recognizing them, you reinforce the behaviors, choices, and mindset that drive personal growth and emotional strength. Celebration does not need to be grandiose. It can be quiet and introspective, a moment of gratitude, a journal entry, or a pause to acknowledge your own efforts. What matters is that you recognize your worth, your growth, and the journey you have undertaken. When you validate your progress internally, you become less dependent on external approval and more capable of trusting your instincts, honoring your values, and moving forward with clarity and purpose. Daily recognition of growth strengthens your confidence, fortifies your resilience, and reminds you that every challenge, setback, and struggle contributes to the person you are becoming. Resilience is closely tied to perspective. When you celebrate your growth daily, you train your mind to see opportunity in adversity. You begin to understand that every difficulty carries lessons, every disappointment carries insight, and every failure carries wisdom. Life becomes less about avoiding hardship and more about learning, adapting, and rising in the face of it. This mindset transforms obstacles into opportunities and challenges into stepping stones, reinforcing the belief that you are capable of navigating whatever life presents. When resilience is recognized and celebrated, it becomes an internalized strength that empowers you to act boldly, take risks, and pursue your purpose with confidence. Daily celebration also reinforces self-love and self-respect. When you acknowledge your achievements, you affirm that your effort, persistence, and courage matter. You remind yourself that your life, your choices, and your growth are significant. This practice reduces self-criticism, mitigates doubt, and strengthens your sense of worth. By taking time to recognize your resilience, you cultivate an internal narrative that supports your ambitions, encourages perseverance, and fosters confidence. You stop undervaluing yourself and start seeing the full measure of your capabilities, realizing that the challenges you have overcome are not just stories of survival. They are stories of triumph, strength, and growth. Consistency in celebrating growth is powerful. Life is filled with highs and lows, successes and failures, moments of clarity and moments of confusion. By making a habit of acknowledging your progress, you create a stable foundation of self-confidence and self-awareness. This consistency reminds you that your journey is cumulative, that every effort counts, and that your resilience compounds over time. The daily habit of celebration teaches your mind to focus on achievement, progress, and capability, rather than dwelling on shortcomings or setbacks. It rewires perception, allowing you to approach life with optimism, determination, and a deep sense of self-trust. Celebrating growth also strengthens your motivation and commitment to personal development. When you recognize the strides you have made, it fuels the desire to continue, to push harder, and to aim higher. Reflection on progress provides clarity on what strategies, behaviors, and choices work, and what can be improved. This understanding transforms effort into action and intention into results. By celebrating growth and resilience every day, you reinforce the behaviors that cultivate success, perseverance, and personal power. Each acknowledgement becomes a reminder that you are capable of transformation, adaptation, and achievement. Furthermore, daily celebration cultivates gratitude. Recognizing your progress fosters appreciation for your journey, for the lessons learned, and for the strength you have developed. Gratitude shifts focus from what is lacking to what is present, from comparison to self-recognition, and from limitation to possibility. It allows you to savor your achievements and to acknowledge that growth is an ongoing process. When gratitude accompanies celebration, resilience is strengthened, perspective is deepened, and life is experienced more fully. It transforms routine into ritual, effort into accomplishment, and struggle into meaning. Ultimately, celebrating your growth and resilience every day is an act of empowerment. It is a declaration that your journey matters, that your efforts are recognized, and that your capacity to overcome challenges is undeniable. Every small step forward, every challenge navigated, and every lesson integrated builds a life of strength, confidence, and purpose. When you consistently honor your growth, you reinforce self-belief, cultivate emotional fortitude, and create a mindset that propels you toward every goal with courage and conviction. Your life is a reflection of the cumulative strength, lessons, and victories you gather each day. By celebrating growth and resilience daily, you acknowledge your worth, fuel your confidence, and honor the journey that shapes you. You learn that every challenge overcome, every fear faced, and every goal achieved contributes to the story of your life, and that you are capable of greatness. This practice transforms ordinary days into milestones, struggles into triumphs, and potential into accomplishment. You move through life empowered, grounded, and unstoppable, carrying the knowledge that your growth and resilience are not just temporary. They are proof of who you are, what you have endured, and the extraordinary life you are creating. And now, as you stand here, reflecting on your journey, understand this truth deep in your spirit. Everything you have faced, everything you have endured, and everything you have overcome has been shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more powerful than you once believed possible. Emotional strength is not something given. It is something built, forged through moments of pain, patience, and persistence. And self-love is not a destination. It is a daily decision, a commitment to honor yourself, to respect your worth, and to rise no matter how many times life tries to push you down. Do not underestimate the power of your growth. Do not ignore the resilience you carry. Speak to yourself with kindness, stand tall in your truth, and trust that every step you take is moving you forward. The world may test you, but it cannot break you when you are grounded in self-love and strengthened by your own belief. Keep going, keep growing, and keep showing up for yourself. Because when you do, you become unstoppable, and your life becomes a reflection of courage, purpose, and unshakable inner strength.